You may feel down and feel like God has somehow forgotten that you are faced with circumstances that you cannot get through. Right now it seems that there's no way out. You feel like you're going under. God's proven time and time again, He'll take care of you. He'll do it again. He'll do it again. Just take a look at where you are now and where you've been. Hasn't He always come through for you? He's the same as He was then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. God knows the things that you're going through today, and He knows you are hurting. He understands just how your heart has been broken into. He's a God of the sun, the moon, the seas. He is your Father. He'll calm your storms, He'll find a way, and He'll fix it for you. He'll do it again. He'll do it again. Just take a look at where you are now and where you've been. Hasn't He always come through for you? He's the same as He was then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. He's still God. He will not fail you. He's still God. He has not changed. I know He's still God, and He's fighting for you. Just like Daniel, just like Moses, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, He'll do it again. He'll do it again. Come on, somebody. Just take a look at where you are now and where you've been. Hasn't He always come through for you? He's the same as He was then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again.
Welcome to Tots and Teens in Focus. I'm your host, Patricia Trim. And today we have some very special guests. Our topic today is the villages that raise the child. And we have some special guests here who works in the community, who knows about children, and who are much interested in the development of our young people. We have Miss Mercedes Narcissus. Mercedes is the past city council for the Canarsie district. And we have Miss Marjorie Ross. She is a daycare worker, and she knows about young people and knows about children. And we have a teenager who attends school, and she knows what goes on in school and could be able to give an insight, and she's no other than Faith Paris. And we have her pastor, Miss Cheryl Cruz from St. Stephen's Lutheran Church. St. Stephen's Lutheran Church is found in Newkirk Avenue, and they will be giving us and talking about how we can eradicate the rapid rise and the rapid violence among our young people in schools, what the cause and effects that cause this to happen. Also, we'll be sharing the views, and we're talking about the churches. The churches in the community should take a more active role in the community after school program, not only on Sundays, pastors, but more visible in the role of week activities. Also, the most important question that we need to have in is parents' responsibility. And we are saying, should parents or the school be responsible for the pollution of gangs and violence that is created in schools, then outpours in the streets? We know most things start in school, because as a child growing up, yes, we do what we do in school, and then we go home, and then we get what we had to get. So we have here, and we will first start talking with Pastor. Pastor, you know, we asked you to relate to us, because you are one person who everybody come to when they have this situation. What is the cause? If you could tell us the cause we start with the cause first of that causes our young people to be so outrageous, have outrageous attitudes. First of all, I'll ask you to introduce yourself.
Oh, okay, great. I'm Cheryl D. Cruz, a native of Huntsville, Alabama, but I've been in New York City now for almost 22 years, and I came here and joined the staff of Concord Baptist Church of Christ in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy, and I've served a variety of churches since that point. But currently I'm a Lutheran and the pastor of St. Stephen's Lutheran Church in Newkirk in East 28th Street. And I've also taught school, 5th grade and 4th grade.
Oh, so you know about what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And we asked our teen, Miss Faith Paris, to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Faith Paris, and I'm 13 years old, and I go to St. Anne's School, so
Yes, and she too will be answering some questions and giving her views too. And we have Miss Martha Ross. I hope I called the name right. Miss Martha Ross. Mr. Martha Ross, please introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Martha Ross, and I work at PB Children's Academy for 25 years. And it's good to be here to share some of my sights and my some of my views about child raising. And I'm from a large family, so that's where my lifelong passion lies. So I'm very happy in what I do.
And we have our most popular, well-known TV star, Miss Mercedes Narcissus. She is the past candidate for the City Council of the 46th district. You know, she ran a tight race, and I still believe that she won.
Thank you, Pat. My name is Mercedes Narcissus. My thing about children is I'm very close. I mean, even my own children think that I overdo sometimes to even talk to children on the street. But I feel and I believe that it takes a village for real. And for me, it's my passion. And being a registered nurse for so many years and encountered so many children. And now, right now, at present, I decided to find out what is the cause of violence, what's going on in our community, why we have so much issues and problems. And I joined a team that working into mental institution, and that's where now my passion lay, where I spend at least twice a week to go there and finding out a lot. Because a lot of our children, you'll be surprised. And I'm looking forward to have that discussion, because I realize our children starting venture out into a lot by the age of 9, 10, and that was a shock to me. So I'm glad to be here to give some insight of what I've been experiencing for the past couple of months right now, and it's shocking to me.
Okay, Pastor.
Yes.
I know that in your church, there's a lot of people who will come to you because they have things. So can you share some of your experience of the causes that created in homes and family? And
Well, most people assume that it's just a school that's dealing with this, but a lot of issues, like you said, do begin at home. And a lot of children are depressed and unhappy, and then they act out when they leave home. But a lot of people are depressed, I think, based on the dynamics of the homes. The parents may be together, they may not be. sometimes there's sibling rivalries and problems and therefore. But I think it manifests itself at school often, but I think a lot of the things they're dealing with begin at home.
Let me ask her, Teen, what do you think is the cause?
Well, I think that I agree with Pastor Cruz, and I do think that a lot of things start and begin to root at home. So charity begins at home, and everything that you go out in the world with, you get from home. So whether if it's what you see on TV while you're at home with your family, whether you see your parents do it, whether you spend a lot of time with your siblings and you pick up habits from them, you tend to take that out into the world, and that becomes who you are.
Okay, and Miss Martha?
Yes, I also feel so the same, because the supervision is not there to enforce what the children are supposed to know at certain time and place. So when they go out, they just act outrageous. And it's hard to bring back something that's already bent. You train a tree when it's young.
Okay, and Mercedes?
Well, I agree with the panel. Most importantly, the thing that I feel that is the cause of a lot of issue that we're dealing with has to do with teenage pregnancy, because you have a lot of little kids raising little kids. And if we don't kind of go into the root of the problem, we're always going to have the problem in our hand. In our society, I think that we kind of neglect those youth that are having children, because if I don't know any better, how could I help somebody else? It's not that they don't want to. A lot of parents, they don't know how, and even for a mature woman, it's difficult. So just keep in mind somebody that's not even a grown person yet and end up with a child in their hand. So those end up to be a domino effect in our society. I think the earlier that we address the root of the problem, the more we can eradicate the situation and get the. It's just like we need to do a good triage of the problem and see, and then try to solve that problem. If we don't get to the base of it, we're always going to have that kind of domino effect, and those kids having kids, violence, because they taking the kids, they don't even know how to talk to their kids. I have seen it firsthand even on the street of New York City. So when I look at the parents, I thought it was a child too, and then we turn around to be the mother, and they don't know. A lot of parents don't know any better. So we need, as a society, to address those issues, and it is heartbreaking.
I would just like to add that it's, I agree about the young parents, but I'm seeing some of the same things in people who are older and should know better.
Yeah.
So, and we also have younger grandparents. What's a grandparent today would not necessarily be a 30, 40, 50-year-old grandparent a long time ago when I was coming up. So I agree that we got young people that are trying to parent and don't have the skills, but I'm finding that some of the adults, I don't know where the breakdown happened, but a lot of adults don't seem to have the skills either.
Yeah, it takes, I think we need to review it, because back then in the days that you have the grandparents, when the parents is not involved to be the parent, you have the grandparent, the whole family get involved. Now we don't have that, because we're living in New York City where everybody have to fish for themselves, and they don't have no time to deal with other people's problem, and that's where the breakthrough, the breakdown. So we need the breakthrough now to see what's the problem, how can we solve. But I think it has to do a lot with the teenage.
But
the
you know what?
Because when I go to housing and I'm visiting and I'm talking through the election, I had the opportunity to see those things. And Patricia and I, we go through where we're trying to see what's the problem and sitting. I used to sit long hours talking to see what's the problem. When I see a child, I'm not judging. I'm sitting down to ask a question, and then through that, psychologically, they start opening up. They feel comfortable, and you realize the parents, the grandmother is about 30, the things, and then you see a lot of those going around. And that those children encounter with other kids, this is...
But if we recall, back in the days, children used to get married at 14, especially in the Indian community. They used to marry very young, and they had to take care of their children. Years ago, children marrying. And they getting children too. But yes, it was that somebody take responsibility. And I find that because of the the lack of responsibility, not because of the parents, because of the system. The systems who will charge a parent if they try to correct their children in the rough way or in whatever way. But when the system comes in, no parents want to talk to their children anymore because they say, "Boy, me ain't going to jail for a child." So that is the thing. But they're not going to jail for their children, but their children end up in the jail.
Can I say something on that? Yeah, I also feel that the parents, the young parents, should be educated, like have a workshop about them and tell them this thing, because some of them probably don't know better. So that's why the kids turn out that way, because if they don't know anything better, how the child going to grow up to be somebody responsible and take charge of his or her life? The cycle just goes on and on and on and never
But
ends.
they can't know better if
No,
the
but have a
system is
workshop.
denying them the right to be a parent,
Yeah, I'm not
taking
saying
responsibility, so they can.
I'm saying
be
that
right.
they just teach the parent, educate them more about child rearing, and I think we might get some change. But if you don't try it, we never know how it will turn out.
The other thing is, too, is that we always assume that people think they have a problem. A lot of times we,
They don't think they
you're
have a
right,
problem.
we're looking from a perspective of maybe our background and how we were reared, and you can talk to some people and they're thinking, my way and what I'm doing is okay. I don't understand why you even think
It's a problem.
what's happening with me is a problem. So there's this gap between this standard that maybe was set at your home that you think you're going to be looking for and it's going to be applicable at every other home. That is the beginning where children really start seeing what they have at home versus what someone else has. You have to go in another setting and see how the rules and the stuff are totally different, and then you realize, oh, wait a minute, everybody's not running their home the way I'm running my home. And also I think it's been very detrimental to people of color not taking therapy and counseling seriously and acting as if we don't need that, we're tough and we're strong, and now we're seeing us just like cracks in the wall, suffering because we have not always been taught that you can ask for help, number one.
If you check Empire, last what was that? They
Oh,
told
yeah.
you that it was white people's problem.
Right,
A
right.
lot of folks think that up to now, because when I go to therapy and in certain question I ask in the questionnaire, our folks would be looking at me like, "Are you crazy, nurse? This is not black people's issue." Yes, it is. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, there is no black, no yellow. It is people's issue. If you're seeing the growth, the chart of hierarchy and all this of Freud and all, they're based on people, how people and animals are gonna behave. There is a certain way, whether you black, yellow, or green, you're gonna behave a certain way if you're exposed to that environment. So the more we take responsibility, and because I posted something about a couple of months ago about mental illness, because we're a bunch of nurses in my family, and yet we have our aunt that have the mental illness, but we thought that is gonna be going away, but it's not going away. So those are the things that I agree, totally in agreement with you, by going to mental institution and realize how many of us not taking kind of is a problem too. Those are all the contributing factor to the violence, to the things, because those kids coming to you, they have their mother depressed at home, not working. Of course, this kid is very frustrated going to the school. But if somebody was gearing and taking responsibility to go to therapy, maybe that child would not be exposed to be depressed and be frustrated, because the child is a child. The child needs some guidance, and in the meanwhile, their house is not doing well because there's people depressing it. The mother who's supposed to take responsibility cannot take responsibility. So we have a lot of things going, a lot of dynamic that we need to review. Pat, this is a long and lengthy conversation we're having here.
But before we go to our next topic, we'll ask, share your views. I know you want to say something.
Well, personally, I think that I agree with what everyone says, but also, as my aunt was saying with the cycle, well, children, when you see teenage mothers or young mothers, they're really, when you ask them what they went through, the first thing they might say is their parent did it. So the first person that is easy to blame is their mother or their father or whoever they saw going through that situation. They say, oh, it runs in the family, or, oh, he did it, so why are you judging me? Like, why can't I do it? Is there a problem? So I do think that if you want to end the cycle, you have to cut it at the root. So you have to help the parents, even if it doesn't look like the best thing that they want to do still, whether they like it or not.
As you say, the cycle has to end. And our next question, our next topic is parenting. Should schools be responsible for the pollution of gangs or violence that is created in schools, then out into the street? Pastor, what do you think? Because she said it's the...
Well, first of all, I don't even think society defines parenting the same way either. When I think of parenting, my one child, my Alpha and Omega, I think of coach. That's the first thing comes to my mind. I'm the coach. I'm showing you how, I'm modeling how it ought to be, and then I'm encouraging you and supporting you in doing so. A lot of times people think parenting is just having the child. And it becomes almost competitive. It's like someone else has a child when they're young and you think it's cute, it's popular, and I'd like to be involved with that. But the parenting is like forever. You keep thinking that you're going to end it at some point.
Nope.
My child is 22 years old, and now I'm not doing some of the everyday things. Did you do your homework? Did you have a bath? Did you pack your bag? But it's now different. It's like, who are your friends? What time are you going to be in? So I just think that it's like a coach. I'm never going to not be the coach. And if you have a parent who just think it's cute to say I'm somebody's mother or my father, but it's so much work. And I think a lot of times that's why they give young people assignments of actually having to take care of a child or a play doll or like that, to give them some sense of the responsibility. And it can be very, very taxing. So I think people find a way to try to escape by letting the TV do it or the school do it, because it really is a lot of work if you want successful children.
Okay. Mercedes, your thought on should schools be responsible for the pollution of gangs or violence that is created?
Well, you want an honest opinion on that, or honest answer on that?
Yes.
You putting me on the spot here, because I'm going to tell you, parents have a lot to do with a lot of things that are happening in your children's life. If anything, parenting is a, like Pastor said, is a constant thing, and I'm going to say here that I'm not a perfect person, but I try hard. And that's the reason today I proudly can say that I don't have anybody that can do anything stupid in my house, because I would not allow it. I'm telling you from the day one, it's not happening, and that's it. And that's why I take my responsibility very, very seriously, because I knew that I had my grandmother. From my grandmother to me, this is the way I had to do it. So I know my children have to be productive. I have no way out. I have to be productive. So my children have to be productive. So today, like you have now, you're calling my doctor. So that's what we have to do. We have to be on top of children. You have to be constantly. I never sleep. Even at nighttime, I have to take my sleep and check the room, because you should not have it. I don't put no TV in anybody's room, as a matter of fact. No TV in anybody. Up to now, my son's debating. He graduated from college. He thought that he can have a TV. I said, no, as long as you're here, there is no TV in any bedroom except mine. That's it. So certain rule, you have to be firm, and you have to know, because once you give TV at nighttime, you know what's going to happen. So the laptop, everything, as a matter of fact, if you don't behave, your phone will be in my room, plugging, not in your room. So there's certain rule where you have to be the parent. You can be a friend, but you have to know when to stop to be the parent, because you take that responsibility the minute that you open yourself up as a woman or as a man to have a child in your life.
Martha?
Yes, I agree with that also, because it starts in the home. I can recall as a child growing up, at 6 o'clock, everyone has to be at home. Now, if you have the children wandering all over in the street, obviously they will be in the gang, obviously. And it mightn't be a person or the gang that you agree with, but then they will convert them into what they want. Then they come home, they all messed up because they're doing this and that. You don't know what they're doing in the street. So I think it started in the home.
Faith?
Well, I have to say, like even personally at home, like parents, I think that they should start being more strict and like just sensing little things. Like, for example, like they clearly can't be with their child at school 24/7 every day, but they do need to keep on track with their kids. Like, when I come home, my mom, like, she goes with me and my sister and she says, what did you do in school today? We go class by class, we review it with her. She asks us, what did you learn from this class? Then who are you hanging out with after this class? You know, like, she gets little details and she reviews it in her mind, and she gives us her feedback on what she thinks that we can do to make our days better, to make our friends better, to make us just better people. And she learns as much from us as we learn from her. So.
I still believe that it started in school because although they may have the little itsy bitsy home, because every child got a little itsy bitsy, but when it comes to the school, there's where the abuse comes in by the elder children will be abusing the little ones, or the little ones decided to put up a defense, because in the school I still feel that if teachers are given the authority, they can stop the gangs from growing, because from the time they see a little cloud, because it starts in school, you know, I'm in this gang and you in that gang, and if they can put their foot down on it and get the parents to come in, and as far as I'm concerned, get back to the old rule, because when you misbehave in school, you are being sent out of that school, expelled from that school, and you do it twice, you have to they put you out of the school. And I feel to myself, if the children are not listening, then let them go to work with their parents. So when they see how the parents are working hard, then they will want to go back to school. You know, some kind of solution, you got to take some kind of drastic solution, because it's not nice for these gangs, because I still feel the gang starts in the school.
I think they're reinforced.
But I mean, I would
in
say
the school,
parents have a lot to do with it, I hope.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of time. I think that's one of the advantages that people who want to do wrong have, is because they got a big block of time to reinforce any negativity that they want to reinforce. Because by law, unless you're 16, I think it is, you have to go. It's mandated that you go to school. So it's like the opportune time to reinforce anything positive or negative. And I agree that teachers and stuff don't have the kind of authority that they used to have because of legal things. And some of that you are glad that it's in place, because some teachers are abusive and are not doing what they're supposed to do either. So it's all these checks and balances, and they're not there just from out of the sky, but something has happened to make us as a society think it's important to put those things in place. Some teachers are now having affairs and stuff with, you know, a lot of things are going on in the school.
They've been going on,
Yes.
but now with the rule, we're able to see them, they surface more. But having said that, you have some great teachers, you have some great people that are willing to work, but the children, I think it takes a partnership for all three people involved, the student, the parents, and the teachers. Because if we don't have all in sync and working together, then you got a problem. Because I tried it myself, it worked for me, and it worked for so many people that I know. I think that we need to take more responsibility toward the parents' end too.
Black people have to do something to make our children and our community much more better, so that the village that raised the child will really raise the children. So thank you, ladies, for all being. Thank you, my teen, for being on this show. I know we're going to get a lot of backlash, but, you know, freedom of speech, right is right, wrong is wrong. Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you, Pastor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, everybody. That was Tots and Teens in Focus with the villages that raise a child. And you know what? We are out to raise the children in the right way. So you children, look out. We come into your school. That's for Tots and Teens, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.